evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a very rare Sunday night stream here on Gooner Gathering. My name is Gooner Lee Meads, Lee Meadows, and I am joined by my co-host with the most. It's the poshest man in all of sports entertainment, Posh Bertie. How are you? You're over there. There you go. How are you, sir?
Well, I wish we could play Palace every day. Yes, I'm doing great, thank you. Yeah.
Nice reference. Good timing. I like it.
Yeah, Merry Crimbo. I'm doing good, especially after yesterday. Nice win on Saturday. And yeah, I'm looking forward to discussing it with you.
Absolutely. I will bring up this little comment here because I was asked about it on our previous stream. If you wanted to do a super chat, well, we can't quite do super chats on Goonie Gathering quite at the moment. But if you wanted to, whether you're live or watching us on demand, you can donate there on the kofi.com/Goonie Gathering. I was asked about it. That's why I'm plugging it. Okay. So that's the plugging it out the way. Let's get into talking about Saturday night's fixture, the second one against Crystal Palace in the week. AFC Always is in the chat. Hello, mate. Great to see you again. Let's put the comment up. Why not? Arsenal are the first.
Dynamax here. Lots of numbers.
I've got it. Arsenal are the first side not to lose a single Premier League London derby in a calendar year since Chelsea in 2005. It's the first time Arsenal have done it since 2004. So, Bertie, my question to you is that worth a trophy?
It's not a trophy, but it's still a very interesting stat to read.
It certainly
it's an impressive stat as well.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, we've had our ups and downs, as Simon Miller would say, as Arsenal fans over the last year or so. But I would say we've probably had more good moments than bad moments. As I try and pull my mic out, which is not great considering I've struggled with that just the last 20 or 10 minutes or so, as you will know. I hope I haven't just knocked it out. Testing 1, 2. Don't play silly buggers with me. You're a naughty boy, Posh Bertie, and I love you for it.
He's not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy.
Absolutely. Feel free, guys, who are watching us. I can see a few people in the chat already. If you want to ask us any comments, as long as they're, relevant and PG, I'll pretty much ask or answer as we go. I'll come back to that in just a minute, AFC Always. I'm going to ask Posh Bertie about the starting lineup over Palace on Saturday, because I was a little bit surprised, Posh, to see so many attacking base players in that starting lineup, and I was really surprised to see Kai Havertz where he was.
It was, if Rice wasn't fit enough to play the full 90 minutes, then why weren't you playing Merino? As AFC Always says, we spent over 35 million on him.
Yeah.
Yet, even when Declan Rice can't play 90 full minutes, you still won't start him, which is very, very strange. And Havertz in midfield, that clearly because it's clearly worked so well in the past.
Yeah.
And look, I was glad that Thomas Partey was back in midfield in his natural position.
Yeah.
But Havertz in midfield, it's not right. It should have been Partey, Merino, and Odegaard, or Partey, Jorginho, and Odegaard, one of the two, if Declan Rice couldn't play the full 90 minutes.
Yeah, and in response to that, I kind of get where you're coming from. I really do. But do you think Mikel was thinking, maybe I need to be a little bit more attacking in this game as we had a very disappointing draw in our last Premier League match, maybe I need to go a little bit more attacking. But the adverse side of that, of course, is leaving us a little bit more open at the back.
I get what you mean there by wanting
Mm.
to go more attacking, but the issue is Havertz is not good in midfield.
I thought you had an all right game, actually.
I think the only time I saw him was when he scored, in my opinion. And ever since when Havertz was taken off, our midfielder Havertz, when he got taken off, we played a lot better. Funny that. But that was more to do with Declan Rice. But yeah, I get what you mean by wanting to be more attacking, but Havertz in midfield does not work.
Okay, we'll get to your point about Declan half time or coming on in a bit. Let's try and deal with the match as we go along chronologically. And if you haven't already, hello Niall Kane, welcome, great to see you. If you haven't already, as I was about to say, please hit that like button and make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you can, share it to any sort of social media platform you might be associated with. All help out with the channel in so many ways. Right. Let's get into the first goal, shall we? And Gabriel Jesus, who was an absolute menace against Crystal Palace in the cup tie, opened the scoring. Bukayo Saka, we'll get to him obviously in a little bit, was on the right. He swung across in. Partey got a little bit of a touch. And there was Gabriel Jesus on the far post to put it away 1-0 very early in the match. 6 minutes, I believe.
Yes. You know what my thoughts were overall this season about Gabriel Jesus until the game against Palace on Wednesday, when he got a much deserved hat trick. And I would have said, you know what, I'd start him again at the weekend because he deserves to. And Arteta was right to start him again. Hopefully, he now seems to look full of confidence, which is great to see. Hopefully, it's not just, a purple patch. But it's still great to see Jesus banging the goals in now. He was in the right place at the right time when the move was started, and brilliantly put in the back of the net. And what was it, like 4 minutes in, 6 minutes in, around that time?
Yeah.
6 minutes. And we're already 1-0 up. Obviously, it's only 6 minutes. A lot can change. But I was still pleased that Jesus is once again on the score sheet.
Sorry, I was somewhat distracted just for the moment because I just saw a bit of a headline on the top of my phone, which I probably will talk about on WrestleDogs tomorrow. AFC Always, did Saka leave the ground on crutches? Yes, sir, he did. Yes, he did.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, but I will answer the question. What I don't know is the severity of what the injury is. It didn't look great when it happened in real time. We'll get to it in a little bit. But what it did mean is Martinelli switched sides and he looked very comfortable on the right. We'll get to that in just a little bit. We're going to get back to covering the match chronologically, if that's all good with you guys. Because Crystal Palace actually responded exceptionally well, I thought, and they capitalised on, I will say, some very nervy, uncharacteristically poor defending, and I'll call it out as I see it, from William Saliba in particular, which led to Sarr scoring. I must say, I thought that was, I didn't know if Kivior was wearing the wrong shirt or what happened there, but it was disappointing that the equalising goal very soon after we scored. Posh.
This was not Saliba's best game because it wasn't just the equaliser that he was responsible for, but he gave the ball away when it was 2-1. But a fantastic save from David Raya got us out of jail there. So
Chronologically, Posh.
I know, but I'm just saying.
I've got notes, sir. I've got notes.
You were talking about Saliba. But yeah, he should have done better. I think overall we should have done better defensively there. And I don't have much problems talking about the equaliser with the fact that we won the game. Spoiler alert. It was a decent finish by Sarr as well. He's a decent player for Palace.
Good player. Yeah.
I still think Saliba should have done better there. You'd expect a lot more from him considering how fantastic he usually is. But it's 1-1, and like I said, the game isn't over after being 1-0 up. And we needed to switch on again.
That point I completely agree with you on, sir. The game is never over as soon as if you get a goal early on, you need to capitalize on it. I do agree with you. So a couple of comments.
Saliba played like me on my 18th birthday.
And let's say hello to Natalie as well. Good evening, and it's great to see you. It's great to see there's a fair few people in the chat already, which is lovely to see. Guys, you know what to do. Hitting the like button helps us. It sort of transmits the old YouTube algorithm towards our way, and that's what we're looking for. Right. What I was impressed with is that Arsenal didn't take much time at all to get back ahead, and people might joke about set piece FC and all that sort of business, but Jesus again scored after this was 15 minutes. The corner kick came in. Gabriel Jesus was left free on the edge of the penalty area, and it was a goal for him after. It might have been Partey who knocked it down to him, I think. What did you make of the second goal for Arsenal?
Well, technically, it wasn't directly from a corner.
No, not directly, but
it was straight after
second phase.
Straight after a corner. That don't go on about phases. What phases slot in, etc. But brilliant.
I'm not even mentioning him. What are you talking about?
You said phase. Brilliant. It was a brilliant finish from Jesus. First touch as well, I think.
Yeah, it was.
And I think when you talk about us needing to do better defensively when the equaliser happened, I think for Palace, nobody was marking Jesus. He was completely free. He had all the time in the world to when he got the ball, and first touch, and it was a brilliant finish into the top of the goal. And that was fantastic. And that's 5 goals in 2 games for Jesus. He's on fire at the moment. Jesus has risen, as AFC always says, in time for Christmas. Who'd have thunk it? But Is
this the point where I bring up my comment in our WhatsApp group?
Oh, God, yes, I completely forgot. And how many goals did we score overall? 5 of them.
5. There were 5 of them. Jesus!
If you do the Rooney Awards, that's wrestling reference of the year sorted already.
Absolutely, it certainly is. Apologies if you're a little bit out of the loop there, guys. We will explain probably in a couple of weeks' time. Right. So we're 2-1 ahead. You mentioned a little bit ago how big a save Raya made. And again, I think that might have been more mistakes from us in the back line, which is a rarity. But I would like you to describe, I think it was Mateta who went through, and the massive save from David Raya, please.
Yeah, so Saliba at fault again, which, like I said, he did. I mentioned Sleep. He did not have his, especially in the first half. Anyway, he did not have the best of games at all in the first half. But he gave the ball away. Mateta was 1-on-1, and I put that comment up already.
Right.
But he was 1-on-1 with Raya, and he made a brilliant save. So Raya got us out of jail there. It was a very good save from Raya. Credit where it's due, and I thought it was going to be 2-2. I thought it was going to be like we saw Tottenham versus Liverpool about half an hour ago. I thought it was going to be one of those games if it was 2-2. But Raya made an excellent save, and fair play to him. I just can't help but think back to all the people that preferred Ramsdale over him last season, and this season Raya's been on another level for a lot of this season, and he made a great save.
Oh, that's interesting, Posh, because he has had a lot of criticism because there are a few goals that have gone in, and we're not, obviously he won the Golden Glove award, and I'm on board with what you just said. But some people have been a little bit critical of him. And by the way, it's not as if we don't dislike Ramsdale. Let's put that absolutely clear. He was fantastic. I watched Southampton in action earlier on today in a crucial game for them against Fulham earlier on, and Ramsdale was fantastic, wearing a unique. Did you see this, Posh? A unique goalkeeping glove, where he's had a break in his hand. He had a unique 4-fingered glove. It was incredible to see. So yeah, fair play to him. But I do think we're in better hands with David Raya. Ramsdale had his part to play. He did very well. I'm pleased the fact that he's gone over to Southampton. Obviously, he's had an injury over the last couple of weeks. Nice to see him back in action today.
Different styles of goalkeeper. I think Raya just happens to suit the way we play more.
I think that's very fair, Posh, actually. Yeah, absolutely think that's fair. Raya's very quick in distribution. I think Ramsdale has that as well. But what I don't think Ramsdale has is the ability to have the ball at his feet as well as Raya does. However, I won't say Raya is completely oblivious to making a mistake with the ball at his feet. I do believe there might have been a moment.
There were times where he was shaky, but he did make a very good save to deny Mateta. But for the equaliser, that was more at fault with us not doing well defensively as opposed to Raya, in my view.
Yeah. You're completely right. I think the big down point of the game on Saturday was, of course, the Bukayo Saka injury. It looked like he pulled his hamstring. Again, I'm not savvy to or privy to information that's coming directly from the club. It didn't look good. And from what I know about hamstring injuries, they can take anything from 4 to 6 weeks to recover. With the news, and whether you rate him or you don't rate him, as I know my broadcast partner doesn't appear to do, with Raheem Sterling being injured, picking up an injury on Friday.
I was about to say that I didn't rate Bukayo Saka for a minute.
No, I didn't say that. The fact that we've picked up injuries with Saka and Sterling in 24 hours does somewhat limit us at the moment. Let's just hope Bukayo it's not as serious as it looked. Yes, I've seen Bukayo leaving the stadium on crutches. That might be precautionary. They won't know until any sort of injury gets assessed, and normally that takes maybe something like 48 hours for things to sort of to calm down a little bit. I'd say to AFC always with that comment there, I will go on record, and I know Don Palmer went on record as well when we did our technical difficulties on the live stream on, I think it was Wednesday. Raheem was actually our best player in the cup tie, I felt.
Oh,
What? Go on, you.
he missed the sitter,
Yeah. The goalkeeper made a save.
but he missed a sitter on the rebound.
Again, you had to be there to make the save, so fair play. But yeah, of course, Raheem should have scored. I thought he did his very utmost to be involved in the game, and he probably provided our most creative output, certainly in the first half.
Well, he almost scored a free kick, but it was a good save from the keeper. But no, I.
If you
with
want to
Bukayo
disagree
Saka-
with Bosch, I don't mind you disagreeing with Bosch. You go ahead.
With Bukayo, I want to talk about Bukayo Saka.
Yeah.
With Saka, again, I'm not a medical expert, but people are saying it depends on what grade the hamstring injury is. If it's grade 1, it's about 2 weeks. If it's grade 3, it's 2 months. Something along the lines of that. So I don't think we know any details yet.
I don't, certainly.
They'll probably come. Those will probably come out in the coming days or so.
I hope say probably Christmas Eve when they do that press conference. I don't imagine Mikel will be working Christmas Day to do a press conference.
Okay, well, let's hope it's reassuring news when I'm tucking into my traditional Chinese takeaway Christmas Eve. I hope it's not as serious as it might look, because it will be a loss. But what I will say is this is what happens when you constantly play him week in, week out and don't have an adequate replacement to replace him. So that's what I think. Although, when Martinelli switched to the right, he looked much more better and much more confident than he was on the left this season, which I think is interesting.
That is interesting. Almost like if you think how Bukayo Saka plays, his final shot normally comes off his left side, doesn't it? Martinelli, very much the same. Maybe Martinelli, I almost look, and don't roll your eyes at me when I say this, all right?
I'll keep them straight.
Please, if you could. If you look at Martinelli, I kind of think almost a bit like Ryan Giggs sometimes. Obviously, in terms of major honours and stuff, I know, don't shout at me. But a traditional left-sided winger who always played on his left foot is what I mean. Right? You understand what I mean?
Yes. Although if we're comparing them based on ability, I think we know who the most preferable player is.
But Martinelli's had his moments, hasn't he? Let's be honest. And it's very difficult to compare people. Literally, this is we're literally riffing off each other here, guys. So we are not scripted, and this is how we roll. What I mean to say is normally I see Martinelli doing his best work out there on the left side. Maybe let's just clear things up just a tiny bit. Bukayo left the field after about 20 or so minutes. He was replaced by Trossard. Trossard took up the left side position, which when he has started, is very often been in that side. The difference here, of course, is that Jesus was the one down the middle, and Martinelli in this situation was down the right. It's an interesting way of looking at things as we go forward and looking towards Ipswich on Boxing Day. Natalie says true good combination of Trossard, Jesus, stroke Havertz, and Martinelli. Again, it was weird for me to see the starting lineup then I looked over the substitutes bench and looking for a direct forward in the replacements, and the most attacking player I think I found was possibly Ethan Nwari. But the fact that we have players that are capable, and yeah, I'm praising your German friend Havertz to be able to play in several positions. It made sure that at least if we had a problem, we could move things around a little bit. I don't think the Saka injury is going to help anyone, but perhaps how the fixtures are looking, maybe there might be an opportunity for somebody else there, especially with Jesus in better form. Natalie, your English is absolutely fine. Don't you worry. Honestly, it's probably better than me after a few Carlsbergs.
Just another comment from Natalie here saying, who starts the next game, Jesus or Havertz? I think Jesus. Well, Jesus is undroppable at the moment, and I can't even believe I'm saying that after the majority of this season.
Yeah.
But right now, Jesus is undroppable. And now that hopefully with Rice back to full fitness, I think Havertz might have to be a bench warmer for a bit.
I kind of wonder, do we line up Martinelli right hand side, Havertz centre, and Jesus left? Maybe.
Well, Jesus has been good when Jesus the last 2 games has been good up front.
Yes.
So I don't want to, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's my view on here. And I like the look of Martinelli on the right at the moment. So let's not,
I was giving you options.
Tinker with the team.
What I thought was interesting is that Havertz was substituted relatively early during the match. But yeah, I think there was a tactical reason for that. Let's get into that in just a minute.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the third goal for Arsenal, shall we? Martinelli, as we say, was he was on the right hand side at this stage of the game. He beat Mitchell, who's obviously the Crystal Palace left back. The cross came in. He found Jesus, who was so close to scoring his second hat trick in the week. Hit the post. Havertz was there to tap it in. Genuinely, I didn't celebrate on this one. Do you know why? I thought he must have been offside. But clearly, he timed his run absolutely perfectly because goal was given on the 38th minute, Posh.
So, I agree, AFC always. That's what I'd go for against Ipswich on Boxing Day, I believe. That's our next game.
It is, yeah.
That will be the front three I'd go with. Unless we get any more injuries, which hopefully won't be the case.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. I also thought Havertz was offside at the beginning. And it looked like even he thought, based on the look on his face, that, this might get ruled out here. But it didn't. And in the build-up, Martinelli actually beat his man for a change.
He did.
Good God Almighty, there have been Christmas miracles in this game. But as I said, Martinelli seems to be better on the right. But I think the shot was saved first, and I think Havertz scored on the rebound. Yes, it looked offside from an angle, but actually Havertz timed his run very well, and that was the only time I noticed Havertz in the game. In my view. It's great he's on the score sheet, but it was the only time I noticed him, and you know what? When he came off, you did notice the improvement. That's what I'm going to say there.
Okay. Look, I'm not going to row with you on a stream where my time is a little bit limited.
Right.
But we'll move on a little bit to the second half. And Even in at 3-1 at half time, I didn't feel things were comfortable, and I did feel a change was necessary just to solidify our midfield a little bit. Of course, Declan Rice did come off the bench for Havertz to adopt a slightly more defensive shape for Arsenal, perhaps. Let's talk about the Arsenal fourth goal. All came out from a lovely ball from Gabriel Magalhaes. There's so many Gabriels in the Arsenal lineup; it's unreal. Gabriel finding Trossard, who was on the left at this side. He did pick out Jesus again. His attempt for a hat trick was thwarted by Dean Henderson, and then the ball fell to Declan Rice, whose shot deflected off Martinelli to make it 4-1. I quite like the way they interchanged their positions a little bit in this goal, which led to Martinelli being the centre of the front three at this stage.
So you first of all, you mentioned Rice coming on. Now I'm not going to go, oh, Havertz was rubbish and all that just for this bit, because what I will say is, yes, we were winning 3-1, but that midfield looked a little bit shaky. I know we were winning, but there were times where
a bit disjointed.
It was unbalanced, I think, was the correct term. But when Declan Rice came on, we looked so much more in control. We looked so much more at ease on the ball. The difference was you could definitely notice it. Look, whilst I do like Partey in the midfield, I think at his age he's not going to carry the midfield. He needs a dance partner like Declan Rice for them to work well. And when Declan Rice came on, we looked, again, in the midfield anyway, so much better. And that's just credit to how good Rice is. You don't notice it until you see him play. But yeah, Jesus nearly got a hat-trick again against the same team, but it was saved by Dean Henderson, but the ball was still in play. It found Martinelli, slotted it in. I actually thought that was going to be offside as well, but no, it wasn't. It was given, and 4-1. And I think that would have been game, set, and match now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's probably fair enough, Posh. I understand where you're coming from on that.
And Martinelli, very good.
Gabby R9 Jesus. Okay, that's different, I suppose. I quite like it. That, to be fair,
he needs to get the little haircut next.
Do you reckon that's what he needs? If it makes him a little bit more consistent, maybe that might work. Who knows? Let's just mention. Bear in mind, let's not be too critical on Declan Rice not being picked from the start. He has been injured.
Understood.
He did miss the cup tie, and maybe Mikel was being a little bit cautious with him. I might have bought Jorginho on half time. That's kind of was my thinking, but Mikel decided in relatively early in the second half. He did make two early subs in all fairness, and both of them made
and they were good substitutes.
Absolutely, as well as I like Miles Lewis-Skelly, as much as yeah. Do you want to say something?
I forgot to mention, Lewis-Skelly had a very good game against Palace. I thought he was very good. I think he's a bright young talent, and he put in a great performance. It's a shame he didn't get a bit more minutes because he looked very good. But, we had to kind of solidify our team a bit more, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So that's why Calafiori came on, making his return. And, I think it was the right decision to bring Rice and Calafiori on as early subs, especially with Rice and our midfield looking disjointed, as you said. So, yeah. But I do want to say Lewis Skelly, when he was playing, was very good.
Absolutely brilliant. We actually completely agree with that 100%. Lewis Skelly has had an incredible couple of weeks, and I am so pleased for a young man who he somewhat doesn't take the headlines, obviously, because there's a young man, Ethan Nwaneri, who seems to get all the hype because he's a further forward playing guy. But it's nice to see a couple of guys that are from the youth team coming up. I still maintain what I said, by the way, if you're wondering, about Ethan Nwaneri not being quite ready. But what I will say is the role he played on Saturday when he came on, he's a very skillful player, is Nwaneri. He came on when a lot of the Palace players were a little bit tired, and he had a little bit of a chance to express himself a little bit. There was certainly one lovely moment at school. I remember where he sort of flipped the ball out and sort of managed to pass the ball around a Crystal Palace player. It was lovely to see. Shows a lot of potential. I want to make it clear, I'm not writing the kid off. Absolutely not. But what I was saying is, I think Mikel Arteta, let put my teeth in, I'm an old man. Arteta is trying to manage Ethan the best way he can. He's giving him minutes when he can give him minutes to help him on his development. That's the kind of the point I'm trying to make. Yeah, I think Natalie gets what I'm saying here as well. Arsenal Gunners very, very good in super subs. Yeah, absolutely agree with that. Let's shall we go into the final goal and then
worth noting Lewis Skelly cursed Man City as well.
That's very, very important to mention. To be fair, City have not been the same since Lewis Skelly got in the heads of Haaland and Manchester City. Got booked without even making his debut yet, and he got into their heads. And clearly, they've not been right since that moment. Is that fair to say?
That is the main reason why City have been underperforming. It's because of Lewis Skelly. Fun fact. That's a fact.
Yes, absolutely. Another one we are completely agreeing with. Let's go into the Arsenal fifth goal. 84th minute here. Gabriel Jesus, we're talking about him again. How involved was he? In possession on left-hand side, he was fighting with possession with the number 26. It's Chris Richards. And Jesus found Ricardo Calafiori, who set up Rice just to let loose with a shot that went past the goalkeeper to make it 5-1. I missed that one in live play because I was busy with my daughter at the time. But it was a great way to finish the scoring and a great way to solidify 3 points, sir.
Absolutely. And Rice deserved that goal by because, as I mentioned, he came on and you could see the difference in how confident we looked on the ball. I'm not saying that that it was solely down to Declan Rice. We started performing well, but you did notice that, as you mentioned, disjointed in the first half, the midfield, and you could notice the way we looked more confident when Rice was coming on. But he deserved the goal, and fair play to him. 5-1. If it wasn't game, set, and match already, it was now. And another good day at the office against Palace.
I mean, if you want me to break it down a little bit further, I mean, Havertz and Rice are very, very different players. Like I said at the very start, having an attacking intent to start the match was all well and good, but perhaps we did. It's a question of trying to get the balance right, isn't it? We get criticised for not having enough attacking players in games that we're in, like if you think Everton, for example, where we had a goalless draw with. And then you have games like this where we have lots of attacking players in, but then we look a little bit open. It's a case of trying to figure out what the right balance is. So, and when Declan came into the midfield, I felt a bit calmer because of what his assets are.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's nothing against Havertz at all, because I've been nothing but Havertz's biggest advocate. I'm almost like Paul Heyman on that respect.
My client, Kai Havertz.
That's it. One other point I really want to talk about on this stream is an incident that could have ended extremely badly for Ricardo Calafiori.
Yes.
It was the bad tackle from Nathaniel Klein, who actually knows an awful lot better. He's a guy that has been around the block an awful long time. It's almost like he's on a mission from Liverpool to shoot him down. And he went in exceptionally light on the Italian left back. He was booked for that incident. I felt it could have been a lot worse for Klein.
He got away with it there, I think.
Would you like to go into that a little bit more detail, mate?
I think he got away with only getting a yellow there. It could have been a lot worse. I am surprised they didn't check VAR for a potential red card there. And it was just concerning seeing Calafiori go down there when he was just back from injury, especially when you look at his injury record. And I even said before we signed him, we were linked with him, he's got a terrible injury record, so we've got to be careful. But I think he seems to be okay.
He finished the match, didn't he? So
yeah, and I've not heard anything saying that he's injured, so who knows what may happen. It was a bad tackle, but I think he's all right.
Yeah, we'll hear more on how the squad are recovering from. On paper, sounds like a very convincing win at Selhurst Park. If you watched it live, as I did, as I think Posh did as well, it was quite a tight encounter until
first half anyway.
Yeah, and until we really we got that. Perhaps the fourth goal probably finished it. I did feel it could go any other way. At one point, we saw how crazy Spurs against Man United was in the Carabao Cup, and I know for certain that the young man behind on my right hand side here thought it might end up with sort of a similar sort of score to that, but thank goodness it didn't.
Or the Liverpool game today.
Absolutely, that was a bit mad, wasn't it? Do you want to talk about it? As of course, Liverpool are leading the table.
It was like a rugby score, wasn't it?
It was. Ended Spurs 3, Liverpool 6. A bit of a crazy sort of game. Very open at times. My observations from that, if you want them, goodness me, don't Tottenham miss their number one goalkeeper. Poor Fraser Forster. He's a very old school goalkeeper, and it showed a lot of the time.
How long is Vicario out for? Because I just want to know in case it's my prediction of an Arsenal Tottenham League Cup final is true.
I don't know. I want to find out, to be honest.
No. How long will Ange last though before that potential? I don't know.
That's a good question. That's a good question. You can't keep on going into games like that And let's try and give a little bit of balance to the fact that I know Spurs are missing something like 11, 13 footballers at the moment, but when you are conceding 6 goals in the Premier League, it's not good, is it? It's not a great look.
And they were losing when both Romero and Van de Ven were playing. So, what I will say, I mentioned the League Cup. I want to mention we have got Newcastle United in the semi-final. The first leg's at the Emirates and the second leg's at St James's Park. So my views on that is we know very well that St James's Park is a tough place to go to. So we need to get the job done at the Emirates before the second leg. We need to win comfortably. So we don't have to, I don't want to. If we win the game at the Emirates by 1 goal, I'd still be very nervous going into St James's Park. Because you know what Newcastle are like and have been like against us. So we need to seal the deal at the Emirates basically before the St James's Park fixture happens, because I don't want to have high blood pressure going into that fixture. We need to win this competition. We need to. Otherwise, the pitchforks will be out for Arteta more than it already is now.
All right, that is your opinion, sir. The views of Posh Bertie don't necessarily concur.
Not literally, don't worry.
With the founding father and indeed the rest of our Gooner Gathering members. Can you please just double check for Natalie when the League Cup game is? I think that's what she means.
So it's in about mid-January, if you're talking about the game against Newcastle. Don't know the exact date, but I think it's around mid-January after our FA Cup game against Man United at home.
Because I don't have a second device around with me, so I as I'm talking to the people, I don't really want to. As I've had technical difficulties over the last week, as you guys will know, if you watched our Crystal Palace League Cup game when we did the watch along, chat along, we went black screen after about 45 minutes of the game, and I was very upset by that, and I couldn't even retrieve anything. On the back end,
we couldn't see your reaction for the Nketiah goal.
Well, you know exactly what happened because of the Nketiah goal, right?
Look at that.
Absolutely. Luckily, I'll say this. I think in terms of my normal day-to-day life, mate, in terms of my work life, I think there's one person I'll give up. Big up to my good friend on the bread department, Dan. So he's the only person who said, something ain't right here, is it?
Yes.
But you mentioned the League Cup game. Probably quite important. And if you haven't seen my pre-match stream that I did on, I can't remember if I did it on Friday or Saturday now. I did mention that Newcastle do have a couple of suspensions coming into the game. Fabian Schär and Bruno Guimaraes are going to be missing for the match at the Emirates. I would say to us that we need to go all guns blazing in that first leg to make sure that we are safe and sound into that final. Don't you agree, Posh?
Yes, absolutely. It's what I just said, and I completely agree with you. We have to, as I've mentioned before, we got to win in a comfortable fashion at the Emirates, much like we did in the league last season. Was it 4-1? We got to maybe have a repeat of that. We got to make sure we convincingly win, so we don't have to go into the St James's Park game with high blood pressure.
Some of us might already have it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and that's just because of working with me on this channel.
Yes,
AFC always says, I would
completely.
prefer to play Newcastle away first in the first leg. I do get what you mean there.
Yeah.
AFC always also says maybe Van Nistelrooy should have stayed being the caretaker manager at Man United till the end of the season and got Amorim in after. Well, Van Nistelrooy just lost 3-0 to Wolves, so I don't know about that.
Yeah, it's very difficult to judge Van Nistelrooy at Leicester when he's still dealing with the same squad that they've dealt with all season. Until he can make his own mark in the squad, very, very difficult, I think. And look, you want to talk about new managers? Look what's happened today at Old Trafford. Did it not end 3-0 to Bournemouth?
Yes, that's Ten Hag's team, you could argue.
Exactly the same thing I'm arguing about Van Nistelrooy over at Leicester. It's the previous manager's squad there. He has to be given every opportunity. I think Van Nistelrooy, look, as an Arsenal fan who saw him play, goodness me, I have a little vendetta against him. Yeah, of course I do. If he's good enough to have a fight, if he's good enough to have a fight with Martin Keown, I'll take him on any day. But as terms of being a manager, he's going to need a bit of time, obviously, to sort out that squad and doing what he wants to do at his new club. I knew when I came on the stream tonight, AFC Always, that Victor Osimhen's statistics would come up at some stage of it. There you go. Thank you, Posh. 12 goals, 5 assists in 15 games. That's over at Galatasaray, correct?
Yes. I think
I'm glad I got that right.
Has got more. So, yeah, those are two good strikers there.
I've not seen Gyökeres since Saliba and Gabriel had him in his pocket.
Yes, so that's how good they could be. Yeah. But I think the striker that is catching my eye at the moment is Isak.
Well, in all fairness to you, Posh, I get that. Had a terrific game over the weekend. He scored a hat-trick against our opponents on Boxing Day, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, although if we were going to get him, it'd be much more likely to be in the summer of next season, because if we somehow miraculously got him in January, he'd be cup tied for the Newcastle game anyway for the League Cup.
True.
So
True.
We can't have a Carlos Tevez against Man United moment, can't we?
Genuinely, and I've said this before, Posh, I don't see the January transfer window to be a great time, because people aren't going to want to sell their assets in January, are they? Not unless they have a real severe problem. Yeah, agree. AFC Always agree. Certainly in the next transfer window, I don't see Isak coming to Arsenal. Good player though, really good player. But if they were to bring in a striking option, I do think it'd probably be elsewhere. I also think it'd be a name that would be completely unexpected out of nowhere.
Sesko probably.
Maybe.
Which I'm not really inspired by, to be honest. But yeah.
But who knows? Look, let's get to. Look, one thing I will say about our channel here on Gooner Gathering is I'm not going to produce videos of speculation too much. It's not really my jam. What I like dealing with is fact, right? So what I won't say, I won't put out a thumbnail saying blank to Arsenal ? I won't do that. What you'll get out of Gooner Gathering is analysis of what has happened, and I think that's what we do best. But what I like to say is we cover all aspects of Arsenal, all the sorts of games, and I would encourage you to check out our social media at Gooner Gathering on Twitter, X, and of course Gooner Lee Media, which is me. And when we have stuff to talk about, which is genuine and factual, that is what will come out in here. It'll be extremely rare, if ever, if we start talking about blooming speculation, because it winds me up when you hear. I'm sure Posh is the same. You hear speculation from the in the nose and all that sort of stuff about this player's going to join Arsenal and everything, and it's just a load of tosh.
Just a load of nonsense, yeah.
I went for tosh, for Posh. But look, we'll see what happens in the January transfer window. If anything, maybe a couple of loan moves out, possibly. But I don't see much happening. Is there anything else, Posh, that you want to you discuss on our stream tonight before we think about making a move out tonight? Is there anything I've missed?
No, not that I know of. AFC always is talking about the boxing, which I know nothing about. Well, I did know it was taking place, but I'm not exactly a boxing expert, so to speak.
Okay.
All I know is that Usyk fought the guy that beat Braun Strowman that one time.
Fury. Tyson Fury, sir, is the name you're looking for.
Yes.
And I know it was a little bit controversial. I know it was a little bit controversial last night, but I have not seen it. I will try and catch up with the boxing over the week. Nick Knack says, hello, Gooners. It's good to see you. I'd encourage you, Nick Knack, to go back to the start of the stream and watch us on demand, because I think we're about ready to head out very, very shortly, I would imagine. I'm about to have a very nice Chinese meal for my dinner.
Ooh,
so
that's quite what I traditionally have every Christmas Eve. So yeah.
What knick-knack? He says typical with the face, right? Anyone who is subscribed to Gooner Gathering, if you are press the bell icon, you will see exactly when we come on live. So if you hit that, you will not miss anything that goes out on the channel, whether it be a long form video like a live like we're doing now, or a short form video, whether it be highlights off a live, or a short form like Matt Roberts kindly gave us over the week when he gave us the updates over the Arsenal women's side. I think that will just about cover us for tonight. And as AFC always says in the comments, Lee and Bertie, Merry Christmas to both you and your families. Merry Christmas to you. Thank you so much for your support. I certainly can say thank you very much for your continued support all the way through our adventure over our YouTube channel. And if it wasn't for you, my Christmas might have been very different indeed, AFC always.
You made the bet. You said you'd do it.
I know, and to be fair, I did it. Wow, this is not the first time.
Which one, though? Which one of us?
He means me. He means me. It's not the first time I have been compared by the great Neil Warnock. Yes, a manager that I've got a lot of respect for. That's for sure. I think I'm pretty much done for things to say. Oh, here we are. Lee, if Nketiah scores next, what will I shave off next?
Don't make any more stupid bets. You are not Ivan Toney.
This is true. I am not a striker that used to play for England until I threw my career down the toilet. That's correct. I don't think I'm going to make any more Nketiah bets until we play Crystal Palace next time. How about that? And then I'll see how brave I'm feeling. All right, does that sound fair enough?
Yes, I'm just looking out for you.
Thanks, Posh.
And I don't think
Appreciate
Ivan Toney's career would be down the toilet if he signed for us, by the way, but that's just my opinion.
But it was his job. You know, he chose to sign at Saudi Arabia, didn't he? Who knows? He might come to us on loan in Saudi Arabia or from Saudi Arabia in January. Who knows?
Yeah, so I think we're gonna head off now.
Excuse me, what? Excuse me, AFC always what?
I thought you already did.
Do you reckon? Eddie's number one fan. Do you reckon?
I heart Eddie.
My missus will kill me if I do something like that, mate. So don't even encourage me to make a bet like that. We do it for the people. Look. For a shoot, this is me talking from the heart. As soon as AFC always put his comment in the chat post Crystal Palace Cup game, I knew my role and I thought I better bring it, or what am I doing as a YouTuber host, right? I bought it and I pay the price. Woo!
I did do what last season. I was pondering that if we won the Champions League, I'd get a tattoo of the Arsenal player that won it for us.
Right.
I'm not sure. I would make that bet this season, but
why
who
not?
knows?
Posh?
I might do it. Who knows?
Why not? We're doing well, aren't we? In Champions League, we're third in the group.
We are. But yeah.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, I might. Historic moment.
I wouldn't want to put you on the spot as a YouTuber or anything, Posh. I don't want to do, make you do something that you don't want to do. But perhaps
if we win the Champions League, then it is something I'd be considering.
Perhaps making these outlandish punishments might be something more of a more regular occurrence. Maybe in the new year.
We're going to have to start a Patreon now. We're going to have to go all cultaholic with the punishments. Or you're going to have to be buried alive in a coffin or something.
I mean, that would be a bit harsh, Posh, wouldn't it? I've got my little girl to deal with here. Come on. But look, we'll see. We'll see what we can do. What I will say is, look, if you want to support the channel in any way, shape or form, and I know people were asking about it. I've even had messages in my inbox over the last couple of days about that. Look at the comment that is pinned, and it says you can absolutely donate to the channel just there at the what's that, like a line, Ko-fi.com/Gooner Gathering. That anything that is donated will go straight to my PayPal, which will in turn go through to us, like putting money into StreamYard and all that sort of thing, so I can do streams like this with 2 or more guests and putting all the banners up and making us all look professional like we do, Posh.
Yes, absolutely. Natalie's telling you to go to sleep because you've got work tomorrow. So yeah.
GTS, I think that sounds like an excellent idea. Ladies and gentlemen, I brought you this stream tonight because I am a very busy YouTuber. I am going to be on the Wrestle Dogs channel on YouTube tomorrow night. So I'm also up at something like 4:30 in the morning, so I can get up and go to work at a very famous retail supermarket, which I don't really want to mention at this stage. But feel for me. Retail at this time of year is extremely difficult. Big up to any of my crew that work on my department who might be working with us. what I'll be working with and might be watching us on the YouTube right now. Thank you very much. Thank you all for watching our stream, and well, I'm sure we'll probably have at least a couple more videos come out on the channel before we hit the end of the year. What a lovely comment that is to end the stream, and it's comments like that that mean the absolute world to me, Posh, and everyone associated with the channel. Just say a massive thank you from me, from the great content you provided in 2024. Thank you guys for being there and supporting the channel. We've had some extraordinary figures, whether it be in the live, whether it be watching us in the playback on demand section of YouTube, and we are so very thankful for nearly achieving 400 subscribers on the channel. That's incredible, and we are so grateful for anyone who's dropped in, put a like on the channel, watched about 5 minutes of us, or anything. If you've subscribed and all that fun stuff, hitting a like on a video, on a live like we're doing right now, it does mean the world to us. Nick Knack, that's me, he says. Yes, indeed, Nick Knack is one of the subscribers. I think I'm done with pretty much all I want to say before I absolutely gonna pass out. I've had a very long weekend, guys. Yes, Nick Knack, we are gonna go. We're wrapping up. Let's stick the banners up, which are there. I'm on it. Bertie, let's hand it to you. Where can they find you on social media?
So you can find me on X at Posh Bertie. My Instagram is at Bertie Wanless, and I run the Instagram Gooner Gathering's Instagram account, which is at Gooner Gathering. Hello, Luke Chapman. Merry Christmas to you and a Happy New Year to you. Up the cobblers. And yeah,
Luke, where have you been, buddy? hit the button on the thing. Hit the alarm thing so you can see us when we come on live. You can watch us on demand in a bit. We're unfortunately for you, Luke, we are heading out of here, my friend. But thank you very much for jumping in.
all right.
You can find me, of course, at Gooner Lee Mead. You can find any of us on Gooner Gathering at Gooner Gathering on X, of course. I run the TikTok channel as well, so I can try and get the little clips up, which are quite funny and sometimes somewhat related to our love of the old wrestling. Who'd have thunk it, eh? But that is us for tonight. Yesterday was a fine win for Arsenal, with Chelsea slipping up today at Goodison Park. It leads to all sorts of opportunities. I'm not going to tell Posh Bertie to put his eyebrows on the line until he wants to do it.
Won't happen.
Because I don't have that power, right? But what I do have the power of doing is saying thank you very much, all of you, for watching us, and we are out of here for tonight. Take care, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.